Okay, I can totally do this. I'm not nervous at all to talk on camera. Hello, and welcome to the very first video on the Growing Wild Studios YouTube channel. I'm very excited to get started and get some stuff up for y'all. I'm going to start off with, a very easy welcome introductory vlog type of video. I'm going to talk about the project that I'm working on right now, a couple of things I finished recently, and show you, progress on what I'm doing. Excited to be here, excited to have you join me. All right, so the main project that I'm really working on right now is this one right here called the Wavy Baby Blanket by Originally Lovely. I believe they are a yarn company that also has, some patterns on their website as well. It's available as both a download from, I've seen Ravelry from their website, as well as free to use on their website as well with ads and such. This is, how far as I've gotten. So here are the first 4 stripes. What I'll do next is after this, purpley, we will put up a little bit more white. We'll have a big white section and then go backwards. So this will be on one end, white section, and then this will be up at the top. I think I made some decent progress on it so far. Really, I'm making it because we have a family friend who has a new baby in the family. And it's kind of like a family tradition for my mom or I to make a baby blanket for those types of people. My mom asked me to do it because just because she's getting a little bit older, sometimes it's very stiff on her hands. And I'm really happy and honored to make this first one as like the family gift. So I'm really excited about that. I am using Lion Brand yarns. It's basic stitch, anti-pilling, the number 4 weight. It's really very soft. It's totally acrylic. Let me double check. Yes, it's 100% acrylic. It's very soft. I think it's like a great option for a baby blanket where you want to be washing it a lot, as well as, you want it to be soft on, baby skin and stuff like that. I'm not using a white because white's, not the best color maybe for babies, but it's kind of like a little bit of an off-white. If you are super interested in the colors, people let me know. I'm not always the person to be like, this is the yarn I'm using. This is, the colorway, only because, I don't know if everyone finds that interesting. But I'll usually try and share, what type of yarn. That way, if you want to go look at specific colorways, you certainly can. But so far, I'm really liking this yarn. It's the first time I've ever used it. And let's get into just a little bit more, showing more of what I'm doing. All right, so I've been working on this baby blanket for a couple of days, making really great progress on it, and I wanted to share a little bit more about how I keep myself motivated. So for me, especially when there's a long deadline or it's a long-term project, um, I can lose motivation really easily. So, for example, this blanket, I know that the parents aren't due, until later in the spring. Um, Rather than, in January being like, I've got months to do this. I've got time. I don't need to work on it yet. I can work on whatever other colorful yarn thing I want to do. Rather than doing that, I'm someone to get ahead of myself because I know I tend to do that. And what I do is I break down the project into smaller sections. So to me, this blanket has really three sections. It has this top color blanket here, then it has this middle white part, and then at the end, there's again another colored section. So breaking it down into sections, when I want to get those sections accomplished, even if they aren't, super comparable to each other, like these two colored sections are probably going to end up being as big, if not a little bit smaller than the white section by itself. Even if they're not equal, giving myself sections to work on, especially if I have, a week or something where I'm busier, I'm like, great, the section today is shorter. Anyway, breaking it down into sections really help. And then kind of breaking down a row count after that also keeps me really motivated. So I've been working on this white section for a couple of days now. I knew I wanted to break it down because if I was like, oh my God, I have 30 rows to do, I'm never gonna be motivated to just sit down and do 30 rows. So I broke it down to be like, okay, I really want to be done with this section in a week or less. What does it take for me to do a daily commitment that I know that I can, actually commit to and not be overwhelmed by it? What is a daily commitment of a number of rows that I can do in order to break down this project? So I had a little over 30 rows I needed to do. Knowing that I wanted to be moving on to the next colored section pretty soon, I gave myself 5 rows a day. I am not a super fast crocheter. I'm not saying, I'm not super slow, but I know that there are people who can be sitting here working on this crochet project while talking to you guys. I am not that person yet. So I knew a 5 rows a day is something that I can commit to. It's an hour or so, maybe a little bit more. And that's something that I can commit to. So that's what keeps me motivated, really, breaking a big project into sections and breaking sections into kind of daily commitments. Especially, I find this especially helpful during the end of the year when I tend to make a lot of gifts for people. And I tend to think of what those gifts are in August, September, October, and then November before I see people. It's very helpful for me to, know what my daily commitment is per project, and know that I'm not being great, I have 7 projects. I do not necessarily need to work on them all in the month of November. I can start a little bit early on the ones that I know what I want to make for. Yes, I know what I'm making my best friend for the holidays already, so I'm going to start on that. I'm not going to wait until the end. And there is also no shame. If you're a person who, one, doesn't make gifts for people, please, more power to you, because I agonize over it every year. 2, if you do make gifts for people and you find yourself always waiting till the last minute, there is no shame in that. You know yourself. I know I am someone who likes to make gifts, and I always find more people to make gifts for. So I get ahead of myself. So I have the time to build. I build in the time for oh crap, yes, I want to make this. Time for myself at the end of the year. But I wanted to share that just because it's been helpful for me. Wanted to share. Thought it might be helpful. A helpful method for people to break it down by. All right. Well, I'm going to get back to crocheting. And we'll check in when I get either a little bit closer to the end or maybe even when it's finished. right. Well, I finally finished the blanket. I'm very excited to show you guys. So here it is. I'm going to hold it up a little bit, but I'm also going to insert some pictures just because the frame is not quite big enough for the whole thing. But here it is. You can see me underneath it. And I'm having it folded in half. But here it is. I've really enjoyed this project. I'm not going to lie. I was in a little bit of a little bit of a slump before, really working on this. The beginning of the year was a little hard. I think, to be totally honest, we moved at the end of the year and settling into a new place and a new location in the middle of the very cold winter was a little bit hard for me. But this project really got me back into the swing of things, which makes me feel really good. I really do think having a smaller blanket rather than, a big one, and I have, one in the works plus plans for more, because it's something I really love to do. I think starting with this smaller baby blanket was really motivational, and I was really glad that I did it. So I think overall thoughts on the project itself. I really love the pattern. I think it was something like super easy for me to get into. The repeats were very easy. Honestly, once I got, into one of the first couple of stripes down here, it was really easy for me to, have it memorized and then just check in every once in a while to make sure, nothing major changed. Um, so I really like that. I really like something super meditative that I can do while, watching TV, or I'm someone who, when I'm actively listening to something, I really need something to do with my hands, which is probably a big reason I'm into crochet. So having something I, could very much do on my own while following along with whatever was going on in front of me was very helpful. I think for me, the yarn was, a good option. It's not something I'm going to reach for again and again as my go-to DK yarn. But I did enjoy using it. I think like the biggest con for me was really just it has a bit of a halo on it. It's not something that I personally like in my projects. But if that's something you like, if you like the mohair type look, not that it perfectly replicates the mohair, but if you kind of like that halo, it doesn't bother you, this could be definitely a great option. Um, Other thing to note is that while it's not super slippery like a lot of bamboo yarns can be, it did have a little bit of it. I know Lion Brand also does Trubu, Kubu. Those yarns are very, very slippery for me. I use exclusively aluminum hooks just because I only have one of each type. I'm not someone who has, a lot of different hooks and different materials. Trubu, Kubu, not for me. I don't work with them. Obviously, with the aluminum, they don't work very well. This yarn, the basic stitch, was okay. Definitely, like, it was of note because I definitely felt the difference in my hand, but it did not significantly impact the way that I was crocheting. Just something to note in case you guys, also only use just aluminum hooks, you would know. But if you have something like a wood or a bamboo hook to work with, that might be a good option as well. I'm really excited to continue this journey with you guys. I learned a lot through this process of, filming and editing this first video. I'm really excited for the future, like I said. If you guys have any ideas for what you might want to see from me, please leave them in the comments. I would really appreciate, any engagement on the channel as I start to get things going off the ground, any likes, shares. If you want to hit that subscribe button and, continue on this journey with me, that's greatly appreciated. Sharing with anyone in your yarny community, your crafting community who would really, enjoy having a craft partner to come along with them. I know that's why I watch a lot of crafty YouTubers, because it feels like I have a partner along with me when I'm crocheting in my office in my room by myself. So like I said, I'm very excited to continue, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.